Paul, reiterating our support for this bill, noting in passing that, as I say, we would have preferred a select committee process, mindful, of course, that there are local body elections that are upon us very soon, but we just note in passing, sir, that an expedited select committee process may well have been profitable, in that it may well have put to bed some of the myths and legends that our Green member has talked about. In touching on the conflict of interest issue, I just say this: I think there is a need to deal with evidence. If there had been a history of conflicts of interest, given that the Policing Act has been around since '58, that we've had members of the constabulary force as elected local body officials at least since then, possibly prior to that Act. If there had been stark examples, sir, of conflict of interest, if there had been a threat to the Constitution, if there had been a threat to the Parliament, if there had been insurrection or otherwise, I suspect we would actually have examples of that. Neither Mr Burrows nor myself, in sort of in-depth talks, could past serving police officer could sort of dredge our memories back to a time when there had been. Neither could Mr Hawkins or other colleagues that at least I've consulted. The Minister hasn't touched on any of those, so I assume that there aren't those examples out there. So I would say that there is a difference also between our military forces, a very big, I think, and historic constitutional difference, which is held amongst most, if not all, at least Commonwealth countries, in respect of the division between current military serving officers seeking elected office, at the very least at a parliamentary level, and those, and I think there's a big difference to those in the constabulary who seek to be members of community boards, for goodness sake, regional councils, health boards latterly, formerly, and district and local authorities. As I say, there are safeguards in place, whether it be from the Auditor-General Local Government Act for the elected side, and in a practical sense, if a police officer was to go a bit troppo and do something unusual in his role as an elected local authority member, I suspect, in fact, and the Minister may wish to contradict me, she may wish to agree with me, but I suspect that the Commissioner Down would come down on them like a ton of bricks, because they do hold dear the sanctity, as it were, of the nature of policing and its independence. I can provide as evidence of that my own serving councillor and Constable Bryan, who, as Mr Locke says, every day is required, in part at least, to administer and enforce local body bylaws and regulations. Some may dispute it, I don't, but I believe Councillor Bryan has shown incredible integrity in the way he has acted, both as a councillor and I'm not endorsing anybody, it would be appropriate, but also as a member of the constabulary force. So I just say, in these debates, which I think have general agreement, we have to become a little rational, and if there is evidence to substantiate the fears that Mr Locke has, well, I think it's probably appropriate we deal with it in the debate, but I can't, in my brief researching of history, note examples where serving police officers who are elected officials have abused their position, put either the department themselves or the local authority in a position of embarrassment, a position where, or worse, and as such, I think this is an appropriate piece of legislation. As I've said, finally, this was born out of the zealotry, I think, of one former Member of Parliament who, for whatever reason, Mr Mark, who for whatever reason felt that it was very, very inappropriate. Well, my colleague says Utu, I couldn't comment on that, but who felt that in a zealot-like way that it was inappropriate for police officers to serve as local councillors. For whatever reason, that was a coalition demand, and that is the nature of being in government. But I just say to Mr Locke, he raises legitimate points, they are legitimate to debate, but if he has examples, if he has evidence, if he has fact to lay before the House as an illustration for what he claims may happen, for the fears he claims may manifest in the future, then it is right that this House examine them, debate them, talk them through and propose alternatives. But if that does not exist, we should get on and pass it.